Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got to look at the new premium tier 6 Polish/European destroyer Orkan. Swirsky on the screen there. A lot of people have always been looking for that guy. He's previously been only found on the Biscuit, but you can get him on this ship now. We got a game, Tears of the Desert domination mode. We'll get into that game here in a moment. You can see though 4 destroyers per side, and we got the middle spawn. So I'll give you a brief rundown of the ship. What's the deal with the Orkan? It's a ship. It's a destroyer with radar. No smoke. You trade a smoke for radar. 15-second duration, 9-kilometer range, so not bad. That's an interesting concept. I think it would be pretty strong, this configuration with divisions. So I think if you're a division player and you want to think about getting a forward position radar that you can actually put on the destroyer, that's an interesting combo. I think as a solo player like I am, primarily, it's not the easiest ship to play in all circumstances. Sometimes it works out. We're going to see this game, the Orkan, kind of doing well. It's kind of in situations that it favors or favors it. But some games, especially if your team's not that apt to support you, well, the radar can be troubling. Basically, you can think of the radar. Number one, you can spot a destroyer. Sometimes I'll pop the radar right off the bat, try and catch him unawares. You can often take out a destroyer right off the beginning of the game, kind of a surprise attack. So that aspect of it is interesting, but you need support from your team once again, because usually what's going to happen is the enemy destroyer will deploy the smoke once you attack it. And let's say you still have the radar. You would commence attacking the destroyer. It pops the smoke. Then you can use the radar kind of as a long-range smoke sonar combo. We'll see that coming up here in a little bit. But that play only works if you got support on your team, you know. But if the enemy team, if they're doing a good job supporting and they don't pop the smoke or whatever, you can't really disengage. So you can surprise them with the radar. You can catch those destroyers in positions that they're not expecting to be caught with the radar. But can you capitalize on it depends really on the situation of the game. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Again, if you're kind of isolated from your team, or they got their eyes looking through the binoculars, just gunning down well-angled John Bart's in the back, well, you're not getting that support. The situation can turn against you very quickly. So you got to keep that in mind. I just think in general as well, destroyers without smokes have an added layer of difficulty. Yes, if you play those ships a lot, you get kind of in the mentality that you adapt. But if you play it sparingly, or you like to play destroyers in general, but you mix them up between all of them, the lack of the smoke is pretty noticeable. So this Orkan, as a solo player, I think it's interesting. I enjoy playing it. I don't think it's necessarily the strongest ship known to man. Some people might disagree with me, but I think as a divisional player, I would be pretty intrigued by the Orkan. I've been envisioning playing it with like a Fiji who can smoke. I don't recommend usually double destroyer divisions, even though that intrigues me as well. I'm thinking like Benson with a really solid American smoke playing alongside this. But double destroyer divisions in general, in my opinion, are detrimental to your team, so I don't necessarily recommend it for that reason. Jumping into this match here, though, I think this play is interesting. Basically, I have this big island between me and the 2 battleships, and that allows me to be very aggressive here. I'm playing twist and track with the understanding that I'm either going to spot this guy as we come around the bend here, which I think is what ends up happening, or if I don't, I'm reasonably certain he's on the cap. I could have just popped the radar and got him there. But we got a destroyer friend right behind us, supporting us, and this Fletcher's in a bit of trouble here now. He's going to try and pop the smoke to disengage at the end. We're trying to knock out the engine, by the way. We got those torps in the water, and we just missed knocking him out. He pops the smoke. Immediately we pop the radar. Unfortunately, the kill shot was already in the air, so that's a bit of a waste of the radar. And then the low detectability American torps come screaming in towards the end there. Luckily, we were in a good position to dodge those, and he didn't get either destroyer. So, pretty effective attack. And that's, imagine that destroyer to my right isn't in the vicinity, and we're fighting that Fletcher 1v1. Now, let's say he pops that smoke. Even from longer distances, I can go ahead, hit that radar, get him with a couple more salvos, and potentially kill him there. So, I like that possibility. But again, it always comes down to, is this going to be an effective play? It depends on who's got the better support around them in general. Yeah, if it's purely a 1v1 fight and the enemy destroyer tries to disengage, you'll be unspotted because the smoke's cutting you off from them as well. But you pop the radar, you can get some shots in, 2 or 3 salvos on that guy, and that'll potentially turn the tide in that engagement. This is why I really... It's yet another reason why you don't want battleships by each other. Now, they dodge these salvos, but zoning torps like that where, even if they're aimed at specifically at one of those battleships, if they happen to get both of them, which is a very, very real possibility there, you get a double strike taking out, huge chunks of the enemy HP. Just spread out, guys. There's no refilling function in this game, and battleships, their strength increases the further they are from all the other friendly battleships. The closer they are, the more stacked on top of each other, the more worthless they become in general, and they open themselves up to potential massive strikes like that. So luckily for those guys, they dodged it. What am I trying to do? I got 2 plays that are of importance here. We got to defend B. Now I'm looking on the map, and every one of my team's coming up here. The other objective, kill these guys as rapidly as possible. Now, I almost went up here and did some suicide rush torp type plays just to clear the side out, because the longer these 2 ships over here are alive, the more distracted every one of my team is, and defending B is how we win this game. They got C, we got A and B. That's the prerequisite. You need the cap, the center cap, and the flanking cap. We got those, so currently we're set up for a win. We got to defend B. Now they're going to wipe out everything that's defending C. It looks like they've killed the final blue ship down there, and then they're just going to push really aggressively into B. So the longer those 2 red ships are alive, the harder it is for me to get these guys focused on what's actually going to matter. So I was strongly considering rushing those 2 ships, doing what I can to kill them as quickly as possible, but I'm coming down here, and I'm trying to get... I'm on the horn, I'm, on the radio horn and on the ship horn, trying to get these guys focused over here, because, we got another Fletcher and I think a couple other, I can't remember what the destroyer comp was, but we got problems over here. Here's a Fletcher. Now this guy, and keep in mind, we got 360 rotation on these turrets like the Lightning and the Jervis, I believe. But this Fletcher, I think if he just turns sideways and gets all his guns on me, he just kicks the crap out of me. Like, I'm really nervous in this situation here just because offensively the Fletcher's guns should be way better unless he's got this ship set up very strangely. He's popping the smoke, which is great. That's going to help block not only him and also that ship behind him. I think it's an Akatsuki behind him. Get him with a torp there, and then we just turn away. We're trying to dodge as many of those shots as possible, so we, pointed rear end directly at them. Now we pop the radar, hoping our teammates are paying attention. We're going to get a couple salvos off for sure, but this play gains in strength if my team starts chiming in. It looks like we got a couple guys shooting the guns now. No, we got an engine disabled here, and we got torps coming in. This is the play we're always trying to make here. I always launch torps with the idea that I'm going to knock the opposing destroyer's engine out, and then hopefully he'll be stuck in the line with those torps. But, when it's coming at you that way, you can see how effective that play is. Luckily, I got one of those perks that allow partial mobility with the disabled engine, and we're able to just wiggle by that thing. But that's always pretty distressing when you're, you don't have full mobility and you got those torps coming in at you. So now, nope, we only got about 5k health. We got about a third of our HP. We're going to... That dictates to some extent what we're able to do. We don't have a lot of HP, so we can't really be getting front line. We also have no more radars, so kind of our main superpower is gone for the rest of the match. And, of course, we got no more smokes with engine boost cooling down. So we got to play it fairly carefully here. Luckily, our team does maintain that 2 cap advantage, and we've built up a nice 2 ship advantage as well. Gonna ping over to C, and I want to point this out. This map, I don't know if we noted it right off the bat here, but our destroyer that was playing or spawned south of A, he immediately came over to B, and this map is one of the biggest. I think it might be the biggest in the map. So if you're switching sides, that takes a long time to do. So I thought that was poor deployment. I was going to point that out earlier. But even getting over to C here, just note the time right now and then wait until you see how long it takes the guy to get over there. I'm hoping it's the Udachi that would get on the cap, since he is not really a frontline fight the enemy destroyers type of a ship anyways. This isn't really his forte, this situation. Yeah, he's looking at this Vlad, thinking about torping him, obviously, but he would be a great one. Number one, he's closest to sea, and his ship is kind of best suited for capping in this instance, as opposed to just popping a smoke and getting some gunshots off there. Go ahead and get C, wrap up the game, make sure no goofy plays can take out a very solid win here. And this is, I'm really nervous here. Me and the other destroyer open up on this Fiji. I'm a one shot, and frankly, most destroyers for the Fiji are like a 1 or 2 shot. You can stay alive for about 10 seconds or less against a Fiji that can aim his guns. Luckily, we get him there. I think some of our teammates were helping pile on him, take him out. Fiji is extremely, extremely dangerous. I think it's probably one of the most dangerous ships for destroyers in the game. And that shot from the Akatsuki could have very easily killed us there with our 1.5k HP at this point in time. So, you know, situation kind of dicey. And if they would have killed 2 destroyers there, conceivably they got a shot. You know, it would have been hard just because we've been holding 2 caps for so long, doing a great job with the controlling the domination mode game. That's very hard for teams to come back upon, but you know, you never know with that play there. So again, we got nobody on C here, and you're saying to yourself, well, this game's already wrapped up, but that's my point. It can turn around very quickly. So great play would have been for the Udachi to go down there rather than relying on the destroyer that was furthest from C going all the way over there. So nitpicking a little bit on what's a really well played team game. And a good job by the destroyers on this team. You know, you don't usually see a 4-destroyer team where 4 destroyers are alive at the end of the game, and a lot of them are going to get some pretty decent scores, I think. So, pretty good performance overall. Just a couple things that we would tighten up there. Orkan, what do I think about the ship? Like I say, I think it's kind of fun to play. If I had to pick, you know, Biscuit or Orkan, which do I think is stronger? I think the Biscuit's probably a little bit stronger, maybe just because I've played it quite a bit more. But again, the Orkan, in certain situations, it really shines, and in certain situations, it's kind of like, I don't think I got the tools here for this situation. So, a little bit more circumstantial, I guess, in terms of whether the Orkan is going to be in the perfect situation for it or not. But in terms of fun, in terms of uniqueness, I think it's got all those elements right there. And, you know, I don't usually give buy or sell recommendations on these, but hopefully I picked this game because out of the, you know, 10 or so I played, I thought this was kind of a good demonstration of what it can do with the tools it's got. So, anyway, I like the ship, but again, I'm not, a lot of you guys only want, like, the strongest ships for your premiums. And if that's the case, and especially if you're a solo player, I wouldn't necessarily say this is the strongest. But if you're into uniqueness and fun factor, then I think Orkan might provide some interest to you. Anyway, that's a look at that one for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.